Hi, so this video is a bit different to what I normally do. I don't normally really talk much about comic news or what's coming and stuff like that. But I love, really love. I talk about it a lot on threads and places like that, which if you're not on threads, you do need to join. There's lovely people like me. No, but there's a big, really nice, friendly comic community on there. If you've heard of Geeky Old Hog, he's on there. DC Patrol, or Comics Patrol as he's called, is on there as well. And I do recommend checking their sites out as well. But yeah, but I love things like getting the news from NYCC, New York Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con, stuff like that. Real comic geek. I always have been. Used to get all the comic newspapers and stuff back in the 80s and 90s. But I like to digest it and just let all the hubbub and all the other channels and that lot talk about it first before. Like I said, normally I don't do a video on it, but I thought I will do this time. Um, and it's just what was interesting as well was the difference in how DC did the stuff and how Marvel did the presentations and whatnot. And it's not to bash one company or over the other, but it was just interesting to see what they put as a high priority. So with Marvel, what came across from their news segments was it was all about the IP, it was all about the intellectual property, whether it be in games or film or TV or Marvel Rivals or anything like that. And the comics came second last. They were just like an afterthought, the comics. So they didn't even elaborate on the stuff what's coming out of the Imperial um, series, which I was a bit disappointed about because I'd like to know more about Nova and that lot. I have stopped buying physical copies of Marvel. I just get the collected editions because I just don't like how the. It's really trivial. It's just my ADHD, I think, where I don't like how they put so many adverts in bad places, so it ruins the whole enjoyment for me. But that's by the by. It just felt very lackluster. They were just like showing yet more X-Men recycling, and yeah, they're saying that Ultimate Universe is finishing, so their largest selling universe is finishing. Okay, good sound business. That's the one thing I did come away from really excited about, but like I said, I must get in collected form because I just hate how Marvel do the comics. Now, again, it's just a purely aesthetic reason, nothing else to do with it. It's just a quality control thing. But I'm really looking forward to the news that said about Iron Man, where Joshua Williamson's writing that. And I've forgotten who the artist is, but he's quite a good artist as well. But that's by the by. So yeah, so looking forward to that. But it was more the other companies. I didn't see much Image stuff, but Image I love anyway. So there's nothing really there. IDW is very licensed products heavy, but I am intrigued by some of the horror titles what they're doing. Um, but it was obviously for me it was DC, um, but, and it's just some really exciting ideas. Like I love what they're saying, what they're doing with Boom, where they're crossing over with Boom to do Swamp Thing is eating the children, so crossover with Something is eating the children. Masterstroke, really clever play on the title as well, and it's got the creative team of James Tynion the Fourth, Walford for doing the artwork. So yeah, that's going to be quality, and it's just a one shot, so it's just enough. But again, I commented about this on Threads. It was like they were reading my mind about what dream titles I'd like to come back. I like B list, C list, D list characters, and next year they're really going to focus on that. So they're bringing out Firestorm, Demon, the Resurrecting Shadow of the Bat. It was funny watching Comic Pals. They don't even know what Shadow of the Bat is. That's when I'm like, oh my god, I'm so old. It was a fantastic Batman series, but anyway, that's by the by. And what was the other? There's a Barbara Gordon book. Batwoman's coming back by Greg Rucka and with a superb artist, Danny, who's doing the Invisible Man comic at the moment. Um, and there was Legion of Superheroes is coming out. Yes! I am so happy for that. With Joshua Williamson writing it as well. Joshua Williamson's really having his day at the moment. And there's loads of other titles as well that they're doing. And but it's not just the titles, it's again the culling and cultivating these really top tier creative teams, not just in writers. Sometimes comic companies can be really good writing stable and piss poor artists. But no, they've got really top tier artists and writers, and they're letting them choose the teams of what they want to do. Lobo's coming back by Scotty Young and Jorge, not Jorge Jimenez, Jorge Corona, who did the Transformers book. Perfect. That's going to be superb. So yeah, it's got me really, really hyped. But the thing that really, really, really got me excited was Vertigo coming back. And I think they showed about 8 or 10 titles, and it's people like Chris Condon, Dennis Camp, Tom Taylor, big names, and they've got some lesser known names as well, which is what the original Vertigo did, where they had some prominent names, but up and comers. I mean, Grant Morrison was an up and comer when Vertigo first started. And I like how they're using that. You might hear me go. Boom, 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 boom. I like how they're using that mentality, where they're using it as a stable to introduce fresh young talent, and also talent that's got a certain buzz about them as well. So it will help um, get Vertigo as a company back into the limelight. Oh, and 100 Bullets is coming back. Fantastic news. So I'm really, really excited about that. And I do know next year my comic collection my comic subscriptions will very much be very Image Comics heavy and very, very DC heavy. But that will, of course, be because there's going to be the Vertigo stable as well. I mean, all the titles that they show for Vertigo, I'm thinking, I want that, I want that, I want that. So oh dear, it's going to be crazy, but it's really exciting news. Very, very happy. And like I said, it's not to bash Marvel. I would love for Marvel to do something like a Vertigo line. I'd love for them to maybe resurrect the Max range titles or bring back um, Epic Comics, where they just have a bit more freedom, a bit less editorial interference. Or Marvel Knights. I don't like how they're just doing this Marvel Knights set slightly in the future. Just do Marvel Knights as it was done. You don't need to. No, it doesn't need to be an event. Just do it. Just do it. But yeah, if I'm hoping, my wish for 2026 is that Marvel at NYCC or San Diego do a panel where it's comic focused and not IP focused, so that on a par, an equal level pegging with DC. I love old comic companies as long as the comics are good. I love it. But I can say hand on heart at the moment, apart from a few little gems, a lot of Marvel is very beige at the moment, very safe. They're not even bad, they're just bland. But there are a few gems, like Captain America's meant to be really good. But like I say, I am going to get them in collected form. What else? Hulk's really good. So I will get that eventually in trade paperback. So there's gems out there, but the shit outweighs the gems. So there's more turds than there is gold. But yeah, so my wish for 2026 is that Marvel has as heavy a volume of quality titles as DC showing for coming up for this year, the end of this year and next year. But yeah, I'm really excited. I think comics is in a really fun place. I've not been this interested in what's coming out in comics since the late 80s, early 90s, because I'm a really old fart. So it's a good time to be a comic reader, and it's really encouraging seeing young people, even though their videos wind me up so much because they're like, hey, yo, I'm just going down to the shop now. Yeah, I'm going to my LCS. Yeah, let's get in my car. Yeah, and let's see what I've got. Yeah, hey. And then it cuts to them coming back to the car going, yo, I've got in my car. Yeah, man. I just got myself a really nice ice cold latte. Yeah. And I've just got this really nice bagel. Yeah. And hey, here's my stack. And they're like, it must be about, well, they look 12 to me, but they must only be like 19, 20. And they spent like 300 or 400 quid on a stack of comics. They've got like 50 different variant covers. I'm thinking, oh God. But at the same time, I'm thinking, this is really good that young people are getting excited about weekly comics again. It's not something I've seen in comics for ages, about even just 3 or 4 years ago. YouTube just full of old farts like me. And even older farts who could be maybe of the hog variety. But it's really, really encouraging that how comics are getting very rock and roll again. They're getting cool again. There's a buzz. This is going off a mad tangent, so I've not done one like this for ages. But things like Absolute Batman getting into the top 5 in the New York Times bestsellers, not in the graphic novels, but in the books. That is huge news, and it's not just huge news for DC, but it's huge news for comics. It's not a manga book that's doing it; it's a superhero book. And I was watching Smosh. I watch a lot of geek shit on YouTube. I was watching Smosh, and they do this one called Smosh Mouth. There was a chat. It's like a religious chat amongst themselves, and Absolute Batman came up. They were talking about how it's great and how they're really invested in it. Don't read a lot of comics, but I read that, and I think this is what we want to hear. So comics are becoming buzzwords again, and not just for making superhero films, but for reading. Comics were hot 15 years ago, but it was for a different thing. It was for, hey, we've made comics into TV, we've made comics into film now. No, it's getting back to the source material now. So, like, going in a very long-winded circle, that's my wish for next year, that Marvel follows what Skybound and Image are doing and follows what DC are doing and start focusing on making quality product for the comics and less on siphoning out their intellectual properties. Because they've got the stuff, they've got some superb characters, but they're just mismanaging them. But apart from that, I'm loving comics at the moment. It's such an exciting. It's not a hobby; it's a lifestyle, isn't it? You choose when you become a comic reader, you sacrifice a lot because it's not a social activity. It's a very solitary activity, but it gives you a hell of a lot of joy. And on that note, I'm going to say bye. Sorry for the waffle. Bye bye.